Hey, fellas. No, we're on. All right, guys. So, welcome to the Average to Alpha podcast. We are going to go over different things that will help you, and I'm just a guy asking questions, trying to figure out how to do this myself. But going over different things that will help you reach your potential. This isn't a comparison between you and some other guy. This isn't about anyone else. This is just about you and how you can reach your potential. And this podcast is focused on two quotes by none other than Theodore Roosevelt. So let's go over those quotes. I'm going to see if I can do this without looking at the screen here. All right, two quotes. The first, both of these encompass how to get more out of your days, and then I'm going to cover something that I've gone through recently with the change of pace in my own life and how that's kind of messed me up. Well, not messed me up, but I've just slid into the worst routine known to mankind, and it's taken a while to happen, and it just came to a head the other day. But anyway, so two quotes. First, there were all kinds of things. Okay, that's a typo. There were all kinds of things I was afraid of at first, ranging from grizzly bears to mean horses and gunfighters. But by acting as if I was not afraid, I gradually ceased to be afraid. So he's talking about his move to Montana, where he moved to become a rancher. So this is the kid that's born in New York. He's born into some wealth. And a lot of times what you get when guys are born into wealth is they don't push themselves because they don't have to. Teddy Roosevelt is one example of a guy who went beyond. He understood what he was given in life, and we're all given a lot of things in life, and he was given a lot. He understood what he was given, and he busted his ass every day to make the most of it. The guy was a man of action. He wrote books. He became a rancher, president, explorer, all these different things. Great hunter, conservationist. Go down the list. The guy did so much that it would take probably 4 lifetimes for most of us to do what he did. And he's talking about when he moved out west and became a rancher, and it was something that scared him. The things that scared him were mean horses, and he's becoming a rancher. Gunfighters, because this is the Wild West. There actually were gunfighters, and he ended up actually taking one to prison. I think he slapped him in the face and punched him and took him to prison. There was grizzly bears, so he ended up hunting grizzly bears, killed a few out in the wild. And if you're hunting grizzly bears, you're not just going out there finding some lame animal, shooting them, and that's it. It's a dangerous hunt. They're often arduous. They're tough to find. He was on horseback. Guns can jam. The weather's terrible. So this is a big hunt. And then he broke the horses, and then he I don't know, claimed his gunfighters, but he roughed up a gunfighter. I know in one story that he did that. So he conquered his fears, but he didn't do it out of an innate ability to conquer fear. It's not a guy who was born with brass balls who just went into things and hoped for the best. He acted as if he wasn't afraid, and that is something that takes a lot of self-awareness and a lot of self-control to be able to go into a fear. And I'm talking real fears, maybe a fear of height or a fear of like getting in a fight or whatever, and acting as if you're not afraid. That's something very powerful that we could all do. And Teddy did it with great effect. The second quote is one of my favorite quotes. Let us rather run the risk of wearing out than rusting out. Most of us, I'd say most people on this planet, take regrets to the grave, and the regrets are things that they didn't do. Be it time they didn't spend with their family, or adventures they didn't go on, or trips they didn't make. They simply ease into that last stage of life, not having done what they wish they did in the first part of life. And that's something I hope I don't do. I hope I don't rust out. I hope I don't go into death with things that I wish I'd done. Instead, I'd like to go out in a blaze or whatever. I'd like to go out from exhaustion, having done everything that I set out to do. Which brings me, that last quote brings me to something that has happened in my life, and hopefully you guys can take something from this, because I've had to flip a switch, and get back into my mode of work and so forth. So I just moved. This is the house I'm in. It's a new town, new house. The house doesn't feel like a home yet. I'm not familiar with the town. I've got some good pals in town, so that's not an issue, but it just doesn't feel like home, and my routine hasn't been there, and I'm a guy that relies very heavily on routine, waking up at the same time every day, getting the first couple of hours of my day on point, and I'll cover what that is in a bit. And I've slid into this thing where, like, I think, what was it, yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. So the change of events happened last night. Yesterday, I got up at 7. I normally get up at 3 to 4. So I slept in. I got a great workout in, so I did something. Work, I spent like 4 hours doing very medial stuff. Like, it took me a long time to get a very little amount of work done. And then I watched a movie at night. Like, it was weird. It was just like an inactive day, and it kind of came to a head where I'm lying in bed, I'm going to bed early, I'm intent on waking up early the next morning, when a buddy calls me. So I'm just about to get into bed. Buddy calls me, and we start busting each other's balls about how weak we've become. We've become like the uppity shit that we tend to despise. Like, just not on the grind, not accomplishing, not hustling, not like hungry, not attacking our days with abandon like we normally do. Like I normally do. I normally get up really early. I normally get a ton of shit done before noon, and then I've got time in the afternoon to kind of do other things I need to do. So we made fun of each other, and then we got down to it, and like, hey, well, we need to be held accountable, so we've got one another. That really helps. Holding yourself accountable sometimes, well, it's great. I love holding myself accountable, but when you got to snap out of a funk, get someone else on board, and we put money behind it. So we both tell the truth, but I'm going to wake up at my time, 3 to 4 a.m. He's a 5 to 6 a.m. guy, and then I'm going to text him when I'm up, and I'm not going to bullshit saying I text and then go back to bed. And he's going to text when he's up. If you don't make the time, you are going to owe the other guy money. And it's just going to be every time you miss, you're going to owe the other guy money. And that can add up a lot, especially if you have some late nights. He's got a new kid. I'm in this new place. I've got my dog who has a freakish schedule, just like decides he wants to take a leak at 2 a.m. So we've both got things, but the excuses don't matter. You've got to get up at those times. So it has to sting. If it hurts the pocket when I've got the mortgage on this, I've got like new expenses that come with owning a house. He's got a new kid, so we've got new expenses. Money is going to hurt a lot because we need every penny. And then the other thing we're doing is we have to be very honest with this, but there's certain things in a routine that have to happen. You have to win your morning, and it has to be purposeful hours. You cannot, 3 things. You can't check your phone. You can't surf the internet or go on social media. These are things that we've identified. And you can't get distracted by things that need to get done. And I'm putting my fingers up in quotations. Like, you can't go into yard work or cleaning up or making food or whatever else needs to get done. Technically, they do need to get done. Emails need to get written. Like, you need to answer emails. You need to do all these things. But the morning hours are very purposeful for one task. And that has to be the most important task for your business or for your work or for mastering your craft. If whatever you're trying to do in life, those hours in the morning have to be dedicated to that most important thing. And then the third thing we're focusing on is getting in the habit of accomplishment, and that has to do with this single thing that we're going to go after in the first few hours of the morning, or first couple hours, depending on how long your first work session is. So get in the habit of accomplishment. So you have to do what you set out to do before the morning ends. That removes the opportunity for distraction. That removes the opportunity for trying to get 5 or 6 things done. So your to-do list, our to-do list for the week, aside from getting up early, not checking our phone, not going on social media or searching the internet, not getting distracted by things that need to get done, is our to-do list is one thing. So I've got one thing that I'm going to accomplish next week. It's going to be a very big and important thing for my work, for you guys, for this business and stuff, but it's going to be one thing. And you can add things in later, but I think the best to-do lists have 1 to 3 things max. So that's what I am doing to get back into the habit of wearing out rather than rusting out. A part of this is I'm going to the mountains once a week. I'm getting out in nature. I'm following a strict training program that has numbers I have to hit. I'm going to tell you guys about this another time. It's part of Average to Alpha, the kind of community that we're building. It's a pretty good program. So I'll tell you about that in a bit. But I just wanted to come on and share with you guys those 2 Teddy quotes. I'll read them again, but and then the 3 things I'm doing to try to get back into that mode where what I'm doing right now, I'm still getting a bunch of hours in work-wise, but the accomplishment isn't there. So what I've slid into, and it's been like 3-4 days of this. It's taken a while to get to this point. It's been maybe 2-3 weeks to get to this point, but this is the culmination. The past 3 days. Today was awesome, by the way. But the past 3 days have been utterly useless, and I was falling into the showing up without being there completely, and being engaged. So those 3 things are getting me back into the mode of being elite, not just average or good, but elite. I think 3 to 4 a.m. wake up and getting 3 hours of work in to start your day, I think that's elite. I think 7 a.m. is lazy for me. Some guys are night owls, and I think 6 a.m. is average. 5 a.m. is you're good. 3 to 4 a.m. for me is elite because you're getting your workday done before noon, pretty much. Because the hours you do before 6, 7 a.m. are completely quiet. You've got a lot of energy, and you just pour that coffee and you're working. At least in my schedule. But hopefully you guys can take that kind of stuff and use it in your own lives. And remember these 2 quotes when you're facing fears. So a couple things that I want you guys to do if you can. And we're just going to wrap this up. I went beyond the time I want to do. Is identify your fears and start walking into them. So think of a few fears. One, let's think of very literal fears. One might be getting hit. You don't want to feel pain. You're always the one that backs out of a fight while your buddies are taking hits or whatever. That fear you can conquer, and it's a very important fear to conquer by just joining a boxing gym. That's one literal fear you can conquer and walk into. I don't know what other fears you might have, but write down 2 to 3 of them and determine a way that you're going to walk into them. And then the second thing is create active habits. So focus right now on your morning. We went through the different things I'm doing in my morning, the wake up time, the things I'm not doing, checking phone, social media, internet, and little tasks that don't need to get done immediately. And then getting in the habit of accomplishment. If you do those things in the wee hours of the morning, you're going to be a man of action. You're going to get a lot of stuff done. The morning hours are important hours. So if you can get things done early and often, you're going to have a great life. And then we'll end with these quotes. Remember, the focus is being elite. We're going from average to alpha. We're not going from average to just above average or good to very good. We're going from good to great, average to alpha. And the 2 quotes are, there were all kinds of things I was afraid of at first, ranging from grizzly bears to mean horses and gunfighters. But by acting as if I was not afraid, I gradually ceased to be afraid. Great quote. Those 3 fears. Act as if you're not afraid for a while, and then you will gradually not become afraid of those things. The second one, love this, is let us rather run the risk of wearing out than rusting out. Great quote. Win your mornings starting tomorrow. Create a morning routine. I'll post more of this in an article. We'll call the article How to Get Out of a Funk and Back to Kicking Ass. And I guess we'll put that title on the podcast as well. So I'll put a link to the article below. sign up for the newsletter, and I'll give you some more tips there. Just tell me your goals, and I'll help in any way I can. We'll talk soon, guys. Take care.